Paradise has been lost. Paradise found. How do we reclaim paradise? Okay? It takes a lot of work. It doesn't just happen. We don't just come upon it without doing work, without cultivating it. We don't get to eat wonderful strawberries without growing them or without paying somebody to grow them for us. We like to focus on the direct route here. How to cultivate heaven upon earth, your own garden of consciousness at any given moment. This week, we're going to talk about what you can do to bring more harmony, to bring more of whatever you're looking for. I won't even go down the list of what I think heaven upon earth is. It can be anything to you. So pick card number 1, number 2, or number 3. Choose card number 1, number 2, or number 3. And I'm going to pull one card for each of you. And this will be specific to what you're going to encounter this week, and how you can exalt that situation to heaven, to paradise, whatever that means for you. Okay, so card number 1. Card number 1, we have the 3 of Cups. Oh my God, I'm using the Dolly deck. It's the Dolly deck, Salvador Dali. So card number 1 is the 3 of Cups reversed. Now, the 3 of Cups is about celebration. It's specifically about feminine celebration. It's almost always shown as 3 sisters. And when it's reversed, it's really when the party has gone overboard. And it's kind of like waking up in a moment of sobriety, okay? Now this, I do have to say, is very much in alignment with Neptune retrograde. Neptune went retrograde a couple days ago with the new moon. So Neptune retrograde is very much about taking off the rose-colored glasses and seeing things not through your idealistic perspective, but seeing things as they are, and actually allowing yourself to look at the things that you don't usually want to look at, okay? To look at the flaws in things. There can also be a real tendency with the spiritual path these days, especially in New Age circles and kind of like more modern spiritual circles, to only talk about what's positive, to only say positive words, because everyone is so focused on like manifesting, creating your own reality. Now, there is a truth to that. However, most of us haven't found heaven in our bodies yet, okay? Now, your body holds your whole consciousness. It's the container, it's the vessel for your consciousness. And so if you don't go through your body, which holds all of your emotions, your subconscious, all of your experience, all of your memories, and clean out and heal, purify, renew, accept all of the darkness and all the shadows and all the skeletons in the closet, all the regrets, all of the disappointments, all of the so-called failures, if you don't go through all of that, you cannot get to heaven upon earth in your body, okay? Because there's a real need to see everything for what it is and to be able to walk through every corner of what your inner cosmos contains, okay? So the 3 of Cups reversed is really saying for this week to create your heaven upon earth. Don't gloss over things, okay? There can be somebody in your life this week that you really want to just accept as a friend, and you just want to see like, they're fine, they're not harmful, but maybe you've kind of been keeping them at an arm's distance, okay? So maybe it's time to really look at clearly, who is that person and what are their qualities that you're not wanting to look at? Maybe they're providing something nice for you, something pleasurable, or maybe they're stroking your ego. Maybe they're paying your paycheck. And there's something though about their personality and about their heart that is cut off and maybe a little bit toxic. A lot of times the Three of Cups is like, oh my God, I drank too much. 4th of July is also coming up too. So maybe don't completely lose your sobriety or your sober mind this week, okay? So there is an aspect of keeping sobriety despite the party, despite the enthusiasm, despite the feeling of fun and play. It's important to maintain a center, to maintain a center root that doesn't get distracted by the kind of whirlpool motion of excitement, whether it's negative or whether it's positive. It's energetic and it's momentary. So this is very much a situational type of card where you're around a lot of energy, and it can almost point to polarities too. When you get caught up in polarities of energetic situations around you, whether it's a difficult work situation, work transition, or Three of Cups reversed ultimately can be a third party in a relationship when you're in a love triangle, okay? So don't gloss over if you intuitively know there's a third party in this situation. It's not going away. This is not what I want. Look at things clearly and determine if that is your paradise. If that doesn't feel like your paradise, well then it's time to find a different person or a different place to cultivate paradise with. And what's important about this card is to know that you may have to go alone for a little while. You may have to walk away from a group, okay? Because that group is not as aligned as they appear to be, okay? They're not as aligned as they appear to be. And there is a hidden desperation or neediness which shows up in this group. And the playfulness and fun that may occur at the surface may be hiding some deeper issues. So again, to summarize, card number 1, look at what you don't want to look at. Determine, is this moving in a more harmonious way? Is this moving in a way that feels like heaven and earth to me? It's generally going to be relationships with this, whether it's job or whether it's personal. Is it time for me to walk away from this towards something healthier? That's my real ideal. Is it time for me to be more sober and to start seeing things for what they are rather than how I want them to be? Okay, so it's a little bit of a tough one, but it's very good for you. It's very healthy. It's very liberating. It's where you can really reconnect with what your pure heart's desire is and what those relationships are, and get back to balance, okay? Because threes are imbalance when they're reversed. Get back to balance. Okay, card number 2. Card number 2, how do you cultivate your heaven upon earth this week? The Knight of Swords reversed. Okay, so don't be afraid to change direction, essentially, with the Knight of Swords reversed. Knight of Swords going forward, very aggressive, in the mind, knows what he wants, nothing's going to stop him. When the Knight of Swords is reversed, there's been sort of some chaos thrown up in the mix, there's been distractions put into the picture, the thing you were going towards is not quite what you had in mind. There's always a little bit of a trick of the mind with the swords and with the knights. The knights love to go on missions. So this is where you can take an idea and you run with it, like too fast. So Knight of Swords reversed says, slow down, slow down. You were running for this thing, and then you ended up in some sort of weird battle. Or you just ended up in like a foreign land and you were like, what am I doing here? This is not what I thought it would be at all. So reevaluate the situation that you're in. Also reevaluate who's on your team with you, who's fighting for you, who shares your beliefs, who would be willing to go to battle for you, okay? And would you be willing to go to battle for them? If you wouldn't be willing to go to battle for them, are they really somebody that is important in your life? And then if it's somebody in your life that you would go to battle for, but you don't feel like they would go to battle for you, turn around. But c'est la vie, okay? Don't waste your time. Do not waste your time, okay? So there is definitely an aspect when you have a Knight of Swords of a war, of a difficult transition. And, you know, that's an interesting thing too, thinking about how do you cultivate heaven upon earth. Can you cultivate heaven upon earth when you're in a war, when you're in a situation that is hostile and an environment that has hostile elements to it? Absolutely, you can create heaven upon earth, which is harmony, which is done through love, which is done through union, which is done through bonding, okay? Because like when you go to war and you find a person that you relate to on that war and that you would fight for and die for each other, that's actually love. And for me, love is ultimately heaven upon earth. It's love. So think about who you're fighting for, what you're fighting for. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? It seems like this week there's going to be a little bit of change, a little bit of culling, where you're culling the herd, okay? So like this person, they would not go to battle for me. I wouldn't go to battle for them. I want close people at this time in my life that are going to be on my team, because I know that, well, I know that there's going to be challenges. We're in a challenging time for everybody. And it's really important as you are coming up into your own strength and your own power as a leader and somebody who can shift the world around you through your conscious effort, that you don't get bogged down by people that are not actually on your team. And it's just over and over again. It's really, really saying, it seems a little redundant and there's usually so many different meanings, but it's saying, would they go to battle for you? If they wouldn't go to battle for you, get out of that territory, get off that team, okay? You may have to be a wandering knight for a little bit. You may not have a team for a little bit, but if you continue to work on your skills in a disciplined, focused, and enthusiastic way, you will find your team, your tribe, your group, your non-biological family, whatever you want to call it, okay? So I hope that helps. Okay, now moving right along to group number 3. Okay, group number 3. How do you cultivate heaven upon earth this week? Okay, with what you're going to be running into. The King of Swords. Okay, the King of Swords. So interestingly, I mean, this King of Swords is really shown as like a pope, like a monk. And then there's that shadowy guy behind him. Dali, what were you thinking here? So, I mean, King of Swords definitely starts out with ideas. Ideas are the king. Swords are ideas. And so the ideas come down through this king. And the ideas are generally helping to find solutions in a pretty intellectual, rational, clear-headed way. The ideal King of Swords does have the eye in the sky. He's connected to the eagle eye, where he can see the big picture. And he definitely has a very keen bullshit detector. I mean, I don't like to swear, but that's what's coming through. Bullshit detector, okay? So this is interesting. I don't know what's coming up this week, but it sounds like there's maybe going to be sort of some illusory factors, some kind of like maybe a little bit of like smoke and mirrors coming into your life this week. And this is a very aggressive card as far as laying down the law, as far as what you're willing to tolerate and who you're willing to accept in your life. And if something feels off to you, or if someone keeps saying things to you and they're not following through, you've got to sometimes just pull out the sword and say, no, absolutely not. You're misrepresenting what you are. I don't have time for this in my life, okay? I don't have time for this. Now, this can also be things like doctors, lawyers, very high-minded counsel. It can be like a therapist, but it would be like very like a psychoanalyst, okay? So it's very, very brainy. It's not intuitive. It's cutting through the fog, okay? It also goes with the Neptune retrograde phase, which we're in now, which is where you take off the rosy colored glasses and you see things clearly. Now, this can also be someone who's aiding you. If you don't have clear-cut vision and perspective on a certain situation, even if you can't get through something with a contractual issue, something like that, the King of Swords is someone who helps you see things as they are, not how you want them to be, not idealistically. And the King of Swords definitely helps you to move forward. And he's not afraid to tell you, like, you're kidding yourself, okay? Like, you think these people are your friends? They're not. You think this job is going to promote you? It's not. Okay, so the King of Swords will help you to navigate out of things that are holding you back. And if you are the King of Swords, your mind and your clear sight and your ability to clearly calculate, in a way, people's actions and the cumulative sort of worth of a friendship or a relationship or a job or a place you go to in your life is what's going to help you sort of sort out and let go what's holding you back versus what's helping you grow. And what's helping you grow is going to be always balanced. If something's helping you grow, you're going to be helping it grow too. If something's holding you back, but it's pulling energy from you, then that's going to be a codependent situation where actually no person is helping the other one, even though it may seem like you're helping the person, okay? So ultimately, this is going to be about clear-cut discernment of how to cut ties and cut through the mess of what is holding you back, what's keeping you in the clouds, what's keeping you from seeing things clearly, what's keeping you from coming into your power, okay? Meditation is a really, really good way to get in touch with your King of Swords. Focusing on the higher mind, also animal symbolism, focusing on the eagle, the hawks, birds of prey. So keep in mind, keep an eye out if you have those birds, because they will come through as messengers for you this week if you got this card, to kind of help you see when you're actually getting in touch with that eye of the sky, that higher mind, okay? All right, you guys. Well, I hope that you enjoyed that. For those of you who didn't catch it, I'm using the Salvador Dali deck today. Very beautiful deck by, you all surely know, the artist Salvador Dali. Very, very vibrant. I love this deck. Happy 4th of July, Independence Day, or as I like to call it, Interdependence Day. I like to celebrate our interdependence with our community, our world, our universe. All right, I love you all, and feel free to DM me or book a reading on my site or a distance Reiki healing. I'm in Hudson, New York at Bodhi Spa if you want to do an in-person healing or a reading right now. And please share. I love hearing your stories. I love hearing your feedback. And I love you guys. I'll see you next week.